Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever and whenever the fuck you are seeing this. My name is Shy. I am part of the cast of Crazed Imaginations, and I am here with an alumni.
Anthony,
Anthony, how's it going?
great. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. It's awesome. I'm excited to be talking with an alumni. How long were you on cast for?
All told, about 8 years.
Okay, wow, that's crazy. All right, I brought you here specifically because it's your birthday this year.
I have a big birthday, and my big birthday is actually on September 26th. And I was born on September 26th, 1975, which means both me and the Rocky Horror Picture Show will be turning 50 on September 26th.
That's fucking crazy.
And I am, to my knowledge, the only Rocky Horror performer really anywhere that was born the day the movie came out. We had two other cast members who were born on September 26th, but on different years. I'm the only one that was like the day.
So if anyone else is turning 50 on September 26th,
I want to meet you.
From 1975, please speak up.
Sure.
We'll start with what I always start with. What was your favorite role to perform and why?
My favorite role to play was Frank, because when you come out for Sweet Tea, you throw up that cape and you just strut downstage, you can't help but feel like a bad motherfucker when you do that. Regardless of anything else going on in your life, in the world, it's like the audience is always just so receptive to it. And it's early enough in the show that you haven't lost them yet. They're not like, they're still excited. They're not sleepy. So that was probably my favorite.
We always get the most like applause from Frank. I mean, obviously. But I've heard a lot of stories about you playing Frank and like just that you were an amazing Frank.
Well,
I'll insert some pictures here. I'll find some. I'll take some time to find some. But yeah. So what was your favorite like memory playing Frank on stage? Do you have any, or like do you have any fun memories from CI?
It is the most memorable. I don't know that I would call it fun. As I'm sure is still the case, you have audience members who are very colorful and very strange sometimes, and sometimes people just wander into the theater, and people who mean to be there. There was one night where I was playing Frank, and it wasn't a particularly busy night, but I was doing I'm Going Home, and all of a sudden, as I'm standing in the aisle having my moment, this guy who is clearly intoxicated comes out of the audience and just kind of grabs me while I'm doing it. And, you keep going because I'm a professional. And all of a sudden, he just Marmadukes me, just his tongue right up the side of my face. And there were two things that I could not stop thinking. The first was, why the fuck isn't anyone doing something right now? And the second was, that can't have tasted good. Like, it just can't. Like, makeup and sweat and just...
Oh, Jesus.
Eventually, my friend Anna was in lights, and she just came bolting down and kicked him out. But it was just the thing that sticks out in my head the most, because it was just the weirdest possible thing.
That's not what I was expecting.
Yeah. I mean, when is it ever what you're expecting at Rocky? It's one of those things. But I do have a very nice memory.
Okay.
Something that was a tradition long before I joined cast, and you all still do it now, is you perform in the Gay Pride Parade in San Diego.
We just did that, and it was amazing.
Yeah, and I would play Frank in the parade, and you're standing on the back of a moving flatbed truck doing time warp 56 times, and you just hope you don't fall down. But we hadn't started yet. We were in the contingent, and I was fully made up, and there was this older gentleman that kind of came over to the truck, and he asked if he could have a picture with me. I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And I get down and, and I take a picture. And as I'm about to walk away, this man, he grabs my hand, and he's got tears in his eyes. And he said to me, this movie was my everything when I was young. And I appreciate you guys still doing this. And it's just one of those things where it's like, you do it week after week after week, and you don't really think about the overreaching impact of it. And then somebody who was around before either one of us, this was their safe place for queer people back in the 70s. And the fact that, we're lucky enough to have not all, but some queer elders who say, thank you for keeping this going. And I will never forget that.
That actually was leading into like the last question I have, but it was we'll actually get back to that. I think that'll be nice to finish it off. But no, I've had similar experiences with people just coming up to me and being like you have no idea how like impactful this movie is, and I'm like I was there at one point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What made you want to join Cast originally?
Long ago and far away, I managed a movie theater, and 3 of my employees were members of Crazed Imaginations. And I was a little sweet on one of them. And they invited me to the show. So, and I had seen the movie before on the East Coast and other things like that. So I was a fan. And I went and I had such a great time and kept going back. Not only did I eventually date and then marry that employee, I joined Cast, and then after my marriage was over, stayed in for another 8 years. So we always joke I got custody of Cast in the divorce. But truthfully, every person in my life who is the closest to me right now, almost all of them can be traced directly back to this community, this movie, and specifically this cast.
Wow.
So you're stuck with these people for life, Shy. I'm so
No,
sorry.
I'm actually moving in with a classmate in the next week. So yeah, no,
that's how it goes.
I've kind of come to realize that I am stuck here, and that this is now just my life. Which honestly, I'm fine with. I mean,
it never truly goes away, and that was something I was really happy about. That when I did leave Cast, I still loved it.
Yeah.
And that is like one of the best decisions I ever made, because it is a joy to get to come back and see everybody. And there's, everyone has a different experience with it, but I left when I loved it the most.
No, this seriously, this cast, this community has entirely changed my life. It's on it. I wasn't expecting it. I thought I would, just go perform every 2 weeks and that's it. But I mean, look where we are right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any interesting facts about Crazed Imaginations?
Yes.
Ooh, let's hear them.
Crazed Imaginations, the Rocky Horror Cast of San Diego, originally started performing around 1978, but they didn't actually get their name until the mid-90s.
Seduction Production.
What's that?
Was it Seduction Production?
I don't know what it was called. But I know Crazed Imaginations came about as a name in the mid-90s because my good friend Amy Berner, who was in Cast when I originally joined, she actually came up with the name. And it was really cool that it stuck around this long. So I thought that was really cool. And also, I think there's got to be some kind of record of how long the cast has been at La Paloma, because it's been at least 25 years at this point.
How long were they at the Ken? Do you know?
The cast was at the Ken, I want to say, for a solid maybe decade. But then after we had moved to La Paloma, because I wasn't around in the original Ken days, but we had an opportunity some years into my time in Cast to actually come back to the Ken. They had us back and we would have a monthly show down there. And it was really great because we could get away with a lot at the Ken that we couldn't in Encinitas. So it was the audiences. Yeah. And that's a fun story too. But we had a lot more, like the Ken was kind of where we worked out all the really naughty ideas that we couldn't do in Encinitas. So I would probably say all told, we spent about 15 years as a cast at the Ken.
Okay, wow. Mm-hmm. Where were you when I needed information about the 50th? Jesus.
I don't know.
That's why you're here now.
And if it's not me, I know who you can call.
Okay, send me that later.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So you said we started performing 1978?
Yes.
Not as Crazed Imaginations,
right.
But this cast.
There was a cast of people who came together in San Diego and started performing along with the movie like as a regular organized thing. That is how far back it goes.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, no, it's one of the longest running organizations of that type in the Rocky Horror community.
Longest running cast?
I don't think we're the longest running. I think either San Francisco or LA or somewhere like that may have been at it a bit longer. And there may have been a couple of stretches of time where there wasn't a cast and things kind of fell apart. But I know that we have been like a up and running, fully functioning cast nonstop, at least since the late 80s. So, yeah.
And the best cast.
I mean,
obviously,
we love our own, but that's actually kind of the cool thing about it, is though you love your cast, but it's also great to have a relationship with other casts.
Oh yeah.
And I've met so many people just through the Rocky Horror community that I have become friends with over the years, and it's like people from the first Rocky Horror I ever saw was at the Meadowbrook Cinema in Rhode Island way back in the day, and that cast is still around. That's RKO.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know, you get to know so many people in the community, and it's an interesting kinship that you have because it's a very specific life and a very specific just way of being that you understand Rocky people in a way that you don't understand most strangers.
I mean, we're all part of like the theater community, but Rocky Horror is like a little click away from that.
It is, and when like I'm a professional actor in my other life, and when I first started coming to cast, I will admit in my 20s I had a little bit of an attitude. I was just like, oh,
Who doesn't?
I don't do what you people do. I'm a classically trained actor of the theater. And I realized as I started doing it that it's not like performing on stage in musicals. There are similarities, but it is its own specific skill set of how difficult it is and how challenging it can be to do a shadowcast when you're mimicking the moves of something happening behind you. You're doing it backwards. There are so many moments that I'm sure you've seen in the movie where a cast member is not on beat. Those sha-na-nas are not where they're supposed to be. and you know, you learning them, and that in itself is a whole different thing. So it's part theater, it's part drag, it's part like mime, and it's part improv comedy. Like there's so much. So it's not like regular acting, but it is its whole thing. And again, you meet other Rocky people, they're going to know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I can't tell you like how many things I've noticed since joining cast. Like the little things here, I noticed something new at every single show. I noticed something about Riff at the last show. I learned very recently something about Frank and Sweet Tea. Just like all these little things that like you will never know unless you're actually on stage doing it.
And it blows me away because, you know, we're lucky because we were in the digital age when we joined cast. Think about the people like way back in the day where the movie wasn't on home video. And you couldn't have YouTube, and you didn't, and like you'd have to go to the theater week after week studying what the costume looked like so you can get yours right. And it was the devotion, just it was the original cosplay.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they did it back in the day. Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Neither was I. So
that actually leads a little bit into my other question. What do you think makes Crazed Imaginations different than other casts? So I've heard a couple things here and there.
I think the cast has gone through many different changes over the years, and there are like stretches where, you know, we're kind of one way and we're known for another thing. When I was there was an interesting time because we had what we call the Kyle's mom incident, and that was back in the early 2000s when there was a kid who was at the show who was like 15 or 16, and I guess their mom had found out about it, and she was so upset about it, she went to the Encinitas City Council and had the police come to the show. And it got very serious there for a moment because I don't know what movie this woman was talking about, but to hear her say it, we were literally having an orgy on stage and like stripping people of their clothes, and it was just nothing even close to what it is, but she raised enough of a stink about it that the Encinitas City Council got involved, and the police were showing up, and the theater owner almost lost his license, and it was so we had to make some major changes to the show. And we couldn't simulate sex on stage.
Is that where that started?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Now, bedroom scene, as ridiculous as it is, technically constitutes simulating sex on stage. So our show was basically neutered at that point.
Yeah.
And we were faced with trying to find a way to still make it entertaining without it being as quote unquote sexual. So we kind of became the funny cast. We started coming up with all of these gags, these screen gags that were really funny that kind of made the show much more entertaining. And we had a couple of people who were doing MC who were stand-up comics. So they really started bringing the funny, and it kind of turned into just as much of a comedy show as like a sexy burlesque show. So I think our version of CI, the time that we were in there, our specific flavor of it, is we were the funny cast. And the other thing that we were kind of known for is, you know, I won't say we were the first because I don't know that we were, but we were the first that I was aware of that were body positive. in the Rocky community.
Yeah.
You would go to other casts in other parts of Southern California, and if you weren't 119 pounds and 5'2", you weren't playing Columbia, and other things like that. And we never had the rule book. You can't even throw it out the window if you never had it. And at least in the time that I was there, you saw everybody playing everything. There was no gender consideration. There was no size consideration. There was no experience consideration. It was, if you were willing to learn it and get up there and do it, you could do it. So I think that is one of the big legacies of CI for me.
I've definitely, I've seen, I think, 2 other casts, and I definitely see, like, the way that they perform, their characters very much match whoever's playing it.
Yep.
And I've heard from so many of our cast members how thankful they are that, like, we don't give a shit what you look like, as long as you're, like, willing to put in the effort to be that role. And I do think that's what helps make our community so, like, inclusive and just amazing.
My ex-husband was one of the most popular Columbias the cast ever had. Just say the name Squeak, and all the old school Rocky people will immediately start testifying that he was amazing. And he was a boy. He didn't play the role with makeup. He just loved it so much, and he would get up there in the outfit and he was so exuberant about it that you could watch it for 10 seconds and totally forget this is not someone who looks nothing like Little Nell. Because he just had that way about him, and he just had so much energy when he performed, and he was so good. And I think when you leave those floodgates open, you have possibilities to have people that you wouldn't see, and you get a performance you wouldn't get, and it can be something really special a lot of the time.
It really is.
Yep.
You mentioned that we had to change bedroom scene?
Yep.
What was it before? How did we change that?
The way we did it before was very much how you see it in the movie. Like, you would get up and just, Janet, and all that other stuff. We couldn't touch each other.
Really?
Yes. So
what's the point?
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. And again, we had police showing up to the show. Our cast director is in full floor show gear talking to the police in the lobby because we don't know if they're going to cuff us. So we would have to find different ways around it. We started doing shadow puppets. There was one time where one of the guys in cast had a shake weight, which I don't know if you've ever seen that. It was like a popular, and started doing that on the other side of the stage. And, we had to find ways to get around it and still make it funny because we couldn't touch each other.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was a crazy couple of years.
I think we're a little bit back to normal.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
How has Crazed Imaginations been an impact on your life?
That is a loaded question.
It's a loaded question, I know. You can take a second, I can always cut.
I would almost say that it has impacted my life in nearly every way. As I said before, I am an actor, and one of the things that being in cast really did for me was it gave me experience. We were weekly back then, week after week, of being up on stage in front of a live audience. And that brought in so much training for improv and being quick on your feet and seeing what works. So it's improved other areas of my career in that way. As I said before, just about every single person that is close to me in my world now came from cast. Either they were in cast with me, or they were already in cast when I started coming to the show. And the community is so tight-knit in that way that I would have never guessed all those years ago that I would still have these people be so much a part of my life, even though none of us are in cast anymore. But it's that common thread that we have. So it's affected it in that way. It's helped me understand the importance of mentoring to a younger generation as far as queerness goes. There was a good stretch of years where I was the only gay guy in cast. Really? And yeah, it was just me. And those things ebb and flow, but I know there were kids coming to that show just so they could see someone like them, and that someone was me, up here doing this ridiculous dog and pony show in my heels every week, and you don't think anything of it, but I really realized that it's important when you're in that spotlight that you have people seeing you, and you are making a difference up there whether you realize it or not. And that is an important way that CI has changed my life.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Y'all are super queer now, and I love it.
Oh my god.
I'm so here for it.
It's weird having straight people on cast. Because we have a couple of them, and it's like, what are you doing?
You need one or two to balance it out.
Yeah,
It's fine. It's fine. Yep.
But for the most part, we're like 80% queer.
That's great. That's great. I mean, and ultimately the percentage doesn't matter. But I always, and this is something we talked about a lot back in my day. Oh God, I'm that guy. Back in my day, something that we talked about a lot when I was doing the show was, are we even going to have a show in 10 years? Like, are people just going to be done with this? Is it not going to read to younger generations or anything like that? I don't think any of us would have guessed that in the year of our Lord Beyonce, 2025, y'all are still out there totally fucking doing it every other Friday night. And I love it. I love it.
The longest running cult classic. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like...
in a very young movie.
And we've had such like a change in our audience since I started coming at least like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was definitely very much like we had some older people and a couple younger people, but now I see like the majority of our audience is the younger generation, and I just think that like that in itself is so powerful that we're reaching that generation to help them.
The fact that you all rose from the ashes of COVID and put a show back together and because honestly, like we all thought that was the end. We all thought, well, that's it. That's the end.
Apparently, we were doing like Instagram lives of like us. I don't know. I don't know how we managed.
Can't keep the community down.
No, you really can't. Thank you for tuning in to Why the Fuck Is Anthony Here?
Join us next week.
Join us next week for the 50th anniversary show. I mean, it's gonna be fucking insane. We have, by this point, I would have already told the audience what we're doing. We have a con-style show. Are you in the con-style show?
From what I've heard. I have no idea what I'm doing, but...
So he's going to be there. So when are you going to come back and guest?
Whenever. I've been back several times. I will always... and that, like I said before, that's the thing that I love is that it's always a pleasure to come back, and it's always... Okay. I have joked many times that my role, because most of the cast doesn't know me now, is I'm like cast auntie. And I just kind of roll in every few months, and they're like, who is this old person? Okay. And, like 3 of the other old people in cast still know me, but yeah, it's always a pleasure to come back.
Well, I want you as my Frank, my Janet. I think that'd be fun. I need some fun Franks. We have a lot of good Franks, though.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see. So we have a con-style show next week, next Friday, 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. Tickets are going to be $12 cash only at the door. A con-style show, if I haven't already explained this, is the entire cast. We have multiple people performing each character. So we're going to have Frank in Sweet Tea as one character, and then one person, and then in Bedroom Scene, it's going to be a different Frank with a different Janet. It's going to be fucking chaos. It's going to be amazing. Be there. Because it is a once-in-a-lifetime show, the 50th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And me!
That came out September 26th, 1975, just like Anthony. So be there next Friday. Bye!